I think I know a little bit about competition. I think I know a little bit about leadership. And I think I know a little bit about football.
Bill Belichick, the greatest coach of all time. Go Pats!
We're at Mission Barbecue in Annapolis, Maryland. Your choice? Why are we eating here?
Well, first of all, I love Annapolis. This is home. And I love what Mission Barbecue stands for. I love their message, the fact that they support the people that serve. When I was here last night, they were packing up a few hundred pounds of their barbecue to ship off to Iraq.
Is it true that at 12 noon in Mission Barbecue they stand up and sing the national anthem?
You'll see for yourself.
There's a sign over there that says every battle is won before it is fought. You said that's one of the few signs you have in the Patriots headquarters.
Sun Tzu, Art of War, it's all about preparation. You know what you're doing, and you have an idea what the opponents can do, what their strengths and weaknesses are. Then once you get into the game, then those adjustments will be, I won't say easy, but relatively easier, more manageable.
How do you know when you're well enough prepared?
When everybody knows what to do. Because our game's so fast, things happen so quickly. So you review the situations, review the communication, you try to make sure that everybody's on the same page. If it's too complicated, it's probably not going to work.
Right.
If it's too simple, that might not work either because it's too obvious. So you try to find that fine line in the middle where it's challenging enough for your opponents, but something that you can execute. Again, it comes down to execution.
Let's talk about the Super Bowl for a second. It's been 2 months and it was amazing. Are you still processing it?
Yes, I have to go back and watch it every once in a while just to make sure it came out the way I remember it.
Was there any point where you thought you weren't going to win?
It was funny. This is one of those games where we didn't have control of the score, but I didn't feel like we had lost control of the game. We could move the ball. We were able to stop them on third down. We were able to do things, but the scoreboard was very much against us. As long as there was still time, I felt we had a chance.
Were you scared?
No. I just try to take it from play to play and make, the best decision we can for the next play. It all fell in place for us at the end, which it had to. If one thing had gone wrong, we would have probably come up short.
What did it feel like?
Close to a miracle. I mean, we had one of those great catches go in our favor, and we've seen them go the other way in other games. So, that was a kind of a miracle.
What's fascinating about your job and what the world watches you do is you make decisions and have plays before the game, but then you get out there in the field and the entire game is making decision after decision in the moment. I mean, this is sort of like leadership on steroids.
I think General Eisenhower put it pretty well. The battle plan is great until you actually get into the battle. Then it doesn't mean anything. So that's the way it is in football. You have a game plan, you go into the game, now you start playing, you see what your opponent's doing, or they make an adjustment to what you're doing, and then you have to change. So my job as a coach is to make good decisions. It's not to go out there and block or tackle, thank God. That wouldn't be very good.
Yeah.
To take information, calculate it, put it through some kind of process, and figure out what's the next thing to do. And so that happens from really the first play of the game.
I don't want to play a little word association game.
Okay.
Okay? I'm going to say a word and just want your immediate snap reaction, okay?
Sure.
Football.
More sport than business, but it's a business. But I respect the game for the game and for the sport.
The media.
It's how a team connects to its fans.
Deflategate.
Ridiculous.
Aaron Hernandez.
Tragedy.
Heartbreaking.
Yes, that would be another word.
Yeah. Winning.
The goal. There's no medals for trying. This isn't like 8th grade where everybody gets a trophy. We're in a professional sport and it's competitive to win. That's what we do.
Well, you've been called the chief economist of football. You were the person who saw the financial value of undervalued players. I mean, it's considered one of your great skills. You always had incredible financial discipline as a coach.
Right, but none of us got into football to be a professional football player. None of us got into professional football to be a professional coach or to manage a cap or manage a team. All of us that got into football because of the game, because we love to go to practice. We love to play the game when we were 8, 9, 10 years old.
It's hard to even think about your story without thinking about your dad. Although he was never the head coach at Annapolis, but he was an assistant coach who was enormously respected, wrote a book about football. Was football a calling to you?
Yeah, absolutely. And my dad had great relationships with other members of the staff. I learned coaching at an early age, how coaches think, how coaches, what bothers them, what doesn't bother them, and there's a lot of coaching styles.
Right.
But again, that was part of it too, is you can learn, like, look, all 10 of these guys are good coaches. They each have different personalities, they each have different styles. What does that mean? You figure out what works for you. I took a lot from everybody and somehow figured it out. And that's kind of, I think, to me, in business or in life, there's just figure it out.
Your dad taught you a ton about football, but what did your dad teach you about life?
Yeah, I learned a lot from my dad. He was the youngest of 5. Grew up kind of in a poor environment. His big break really was football. Worked his way through college, lived in the gym in a closet, summer jobs and all that, and made a career out of football, and ultimately ended up here at the Naval Academy, where I think he was destined to be, because he loved his country and the quality of people that come here because of their toughness, their work ethic, and their devotion to the country and their duty. And so that's really what he's about, or what he was about. And so many of those lessons I learned either from him, or from my association with the Academy, or from my association with the people at the Naval Academy, which represented those same values.
As we do every day at noon with the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?
What would you call your most defining moments of your career, where you learned the most?
Well, where I probably learned the most is my first year in 1975, because I took a job, was given a job with the Colts, and I didn't have any experience, and they were very understaffed. I wasn't getting paid anything, but I had a lot of responsibility for that position.
Right.
And so I was able to learn a lot. It was like having 2 or 3 graduate courses in 1 year. After that year, when I went to Detroit, we were 1-4. We were playing the Patriots, who were 4-1. They had a great team, and I went back to an experience that I had in Baltimore. I kind of talked to our offensive coordinator at that time and said, look, I know we haven't ever used this formation, but I studied this formation while I was in Baltimore last year. I think this is really going to give the Patriots a problem. Can we take a look at this? So we went through it, we looked at it, we used it, and we won the game by 3 touchdowns. It was a huge upset. That was kind of one of those where I'm like, okay, I can coach in this league.
What did you take away from
that? It's that don't be afraid to use a good idea. Just because it's unconventional, just because somebody else hasn't done it. If you believe in it's a good idea, then don't be afraid to use it. So fast forward, I take the job with the Patriots in 2000. The first meeting we have in the spring, this is back in the old Foxborough Stadium, so it's kind of a small room. We're squeezing the whole team in there. And here comes in the guy's first-round draft pick from a prior year, walks into the front of the meeting, not into the back, walks into the front and kind of sits down. And I've already started the meeting. I'm 3-4 minutes into it. And, I just look at him like, what are you doing? He said, sorry, coach. Like, sorry, just get out of here. We're not going to start this program off with you walking in whenever you feel like walking in. I don't care if the guy's the #1 draft choice or not a #1 draft choice. We're just not going to run a team like this.
Yes. If you had to describe the tenets or the principles of your leadership style or approach, what would they be?
Do your job, be attentive, pay attention to details, and put the team first. In football, to be successful as an individual player, you need your teammates. And the better you connect with them, the better you interact as a team, the more successful you'll be individually. And I'd say we try to do things to help the team building process.
Like what?
Well, on the field, if one person does something particularly good, then everybody receives a benefit.
Okay.
So now you're counting on that other person, even though he might not be on your side of the ball. You might not even really like the guy, but if he does the right thing, we all get something.
Yeah.
Well, you're pulling for him. And then off the field, again, we do team building things where we get to know each other. We throw away the cell phones and just do things that we're together as a team and we're experiencing together, whether it be, going to a movie, or we play games, or do trivia, or do something like that. That just kind of brings everybody together, have fun. But take all the outside distractions out of it.
Speaking of distractions, you're not a big fan of social media.
Yeah, that would be putting it mildly. I think I do all I can to fight it. We have rules that, prohibit our players from, posting things on, instant face and all that. We don't, and I think it's important for us to, as a team, to know each other, to know our teammates, to know our coaches, to interact with them more than it is to be liked by, whoever on chat room. So we try to encourage the interaction and the personal contact and experiences, and not really pay attention to what people are saying out there who we don't even know. Look, I understand I'm not going to eliminate it. I don't even care whether, people go on it or our players go on it or not. I don't really care about that. I care about it as it relates to our football team. And as much as I can eliminate it on our team, I'm going to try to stamp it out.
Talk about how you think about what the right relationship is with your subordinates, really.
Right. Well, there's a couple elements to it. One is coaching, and just from a pure coaching standpoint, I try to coach all the players the same.
I mean, don't you have favorites like everyone else? I mean,
honestly, I like all the players that we have. I respect all of our players, and if I favor one, that's not favoring 52.
Yeah.
So, the way I look at it is I give everybody what they earn.
He tries to make it harder for us in practice than it is in the game.
You've had a long and unbelievable partnership with Tom Brady. What are your thoughts on Tom Brady?
A really special player to coach. Tom works very hard. He's very smart. He's trained hard. He's worked hard on his throwing mechanics. He's worked hard on his mental understanding of the game and process. He's earned everything that he's achieved, but wasn't always there. He's not a great natural athlete. He's a very smart, instinctive football player.
But he might end up being the greatest of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not all about talent. It's about dependability, consistency, and being able to improve. Again, and if you work hard and you understand, you're coachable and you understand what you need to do, you can improve.
All right, now let's talk about mistakes, okay? Leadership mistakes, your career mistakes. Any stick out?
After every game, I look at the mistakes that were made in that game by me, by the coaching staff, and we need to address those and correct those. Good players can't overcome bad coaching. It's impossible. On a personal level, let's say, the one thing that I've definitely learned is you've got to count on your most dependable people. I'll put it this way, if we're going to lose, I'm going to lose with that guy or that person's mistake or coming up short in that area. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but I'm going down with that person. Might not be your most talented person, but you count on your most dependable people. So there have been times when I've put, I would say, too much responsibility on people that weren't dependable, and they didn't come through, and so whose fault's that? Mine. When you're the head coach, you can only do so many details. And I would say at times I was too detail-oriented in some of the tasks that I was on and didn't have enough breadth or give enough leadership in other areas. I mean, look, every team has young players and they have wives and girlfriends and they have babies and they have parents that are sick. All that somewhere or other, all runs in together. So the more you can handle those, the more that you can help take care of those as an organization, as a head coach, then, the smoother the ship runs on the football end.
Was there ever a plan B? Like, what if football hadn't worked out?
Well, so what I want to do is be a graduate assistant and go and get a business degree or an economics degree, postgraduates.
And maybe become a professor?
No, I think go into business.
Go into business.
Business, or yeah.
Did that thought keep going through your head for a while, or when did you sort of let go of that?
Coach Verzano offered me a job in Detroit, so I went to Detroit. So I went from $25 a week to $10,000 a year plus a car at Detroit. That looked pretty good at that time, so I'm like, all right, I'm in.
I've heard you say that it's not what you know, it's who you know.
So true. Yeah, so true. In life, it's so much of, the opportunities that you get from people that you know, the opportunities that those relationships give you as opposed to, what's in a book or, what you've studied.
You have 3 children and they are following in your footsteps. 2 of your boys are working with the Patriots organization now. Your daughter is the coach at Holy Cross, the women's lacrosse coach. How do you feel about them going into the same world that you were in?
I've told them kind of the same thing my dad told me, which is, follow your heart. If there's something that you love, then and that's your passion when you're young, do it and let everything else take care of itself. Don't do it for, money or some other motivation. Do it because it's what you want to do. Yeah, Bill, this is my dad's jacket he wore as a physical education instructor at the Naval Academy, and I feel like this is where it should be, in this restaurant, and he's one who served.
Coach, thanks. I know what Annapolis and the Naval Academy meant to the Belichicks. We will so proudly display this, and we're humbled.
Do you foresee yourself coaching for the indefinite future, or retirement does not beckon, apparently?
Yeah, again, I'm kind of short-sighted here, so I'm good, certainly good here for, this year, good for a while. I like what I'm doing. I enjoy all parts of the game. The team building, training camp, game days.
It's still
the
fun.
excitement of Sunday. Yeah, it really is. It beats working.
Is the goal to go back and win the Super Bowl again?
Well, that's too far away. The goal right now is to put a good competitive team together. Then the goal would be to have our team compete and work the way it needs to work to have a good spring, then to have a good training camp, then to be ready for the start of the season. So we can only control what we can control in the short term, this week, our next opportunity. So that's where we're at.
Not one, not two, not three, not four. This is number 5. How y'all feel about number 5?
Where are all the rings?
In the safe. Yeah, I'm not a big jewelry person.
You know they're there, right?
Right, and they were earned. You can't buy them in the store. They were earned. They'll never be able to take them away. And that's a proud feeling to have, that's an achievement that was competitively earned, and that ring symbolizes achievement and accomplishment. So, very proud.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.